Hi, this is Scott Marker, and this is another episode of Treasure Valley NIA Quick Tips. How this came to be is years ago, I bought a franchise over 7 years ago, and through that, I run professional networking groups, and I have a lot of local business owners here in the Treasure Valley, Idaho, and professionals. And I thought, why not bring some of them on and share their expertise? And so today is a perfect example. Jason, introduce yourself.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show. Yeah, Jason McKenzie, and I have known Scott for a few years now, and we have each other on each other's shows occasionally, catch up on what's happening in the business world. So I appreciate you letting me come back on your show and talk about what I've got going on.
Yeah, and like I said, I can't say enough about it. If you don't know, if you're here in the Treasure Valley, Boise Metro, whatever you want to call it, you really do need to meet Jason because he's like super connected. He's a great guy. He just goes out of his way to help people, other business professionals and owners here in the Treasure Valley. So I can't say enough about him. And that's one of the reasons I brought him on too, is just to kind of make sure if you don't know him, you need to know him. So, um, uh, one thing I've known you for years, and my weakness is I like talking about business so much. Sometimes I don't really dive deep into it. Like what I know Boise Web, right? But
Yep.
but where what was your first business?
How far back do you want me to go?
I, hey, you keep it short, but go as far back as you want to.
All right. I was probably like maybe 5 years old, and I took a stack of paper and folded it into airplanes and helicopters and tried selling it to my siblings, and they wouldn't buy. Fortunately, my dad came home from work, gave me a couple of shiny coins, and took the whole bag of airplanes, and I think threw them in his closet.
So your entrepreneurship started off when you were just a kid.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was a little kid and I was fascinated with the concept.
Wow. Okay, then what was the next one?
So after that, took a few years hiatus and was working a paper route with my family. And then when I was 11, I was like, man, I've got to make more money than this. And so I looked around and started a lawn care business. And actually, I worked it up until I had 16 customers. I didn't have a driver's license. We were called the Lawn Boys. I hired my younger brother to work for me. And we were doing lawn care for all kinds of neighbors all over the place, turning customers down because we were busy as we wanted to be.
That's something that we share in common. Back when I could um, push a lawnmower, I started mowing lawns all the way through college. And actually, my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, uh, I was doing 12 lawns a week. And I'm not like you. I turned people down because I was going to college and assistant general manager of a restaurant, and I didn't have time for any more restaurants. So, and I didn't even until I recently talked to two different schools, one a school and one at Boise State, to entrepreneurs, is that I didn't know really I was an entrepreneur before. That was being an entrepreneur, mowing all those lawns. So anyway, so that we have that in common.
It's
So
just in your DNA.
yeah. So what was the next business you did?
The next one, I was actually importing jewelry out of the Philippines.
Wow.
And that's actually how I got married, believe it or not. I was
Wow.
importing pearl jewelry out of the Philippines and then selling it.
And how'd you do? I mean, were you making good money?
So the margins were incredible.
Okay.
I was shocked. And we were paying really well to the people in the Philippines, which is uncommon, especially at the time. And they were more than excited to give us the actual pearls. So we had great connections over there. But it was especially funny. I had my business partner that had all the connections in the Philippines, and I had the business experience. And there was a lot of rules and regulations, and we're importing and all those kinds of things. And eventually it just kind of faded out, but that actually was the reason I got into my web design business. And it was because I'm looking around, I'm like, man, I gotta sell more jewelry. I gotta sell more pearls. And I'm looking, I'm like, whoa, if I could build a website and get it to be number one in Google, game over. I'd be selling so much I couldn't even handle all the customers. But my programming background actually started back about the same time I was mowing lawns, and I got involved in computers. Always was fascinated with them. I actually started soldering and building stuff and wiring things back when I was about 8 years old and started playing
Wow.
with electronics at that age, but didn't start programming till 11, 12, somewhere in there. And then I just kind of put it on hold after I'd gotten pretty good until I was back in college. And then that led me down the rabbit hole of I had the jewelry business. How am I going to sell more? Need a website, got to build it, figure that out. How do I rank the website? Got into SEO, and it just all snowballed from there.
Wow. So is that kind of how you got started with the Boise Web?
It is actually,
Oh,
yep.
wow.
Yep.
Selling pearls
Yeah,
from the
right.
Philippines.
That's
Who
how
would have
everybody
thought?
does it.
Yeah, who would have thought? Well, that's a common sense thing. Yeah, selling pearls. I'm a web developer. Yeah, what a wow. But you did like, but that was a need you had. How do you get online?
Yep.
Wow. So how long you been doing the Boise Web?
I started I started doing that officially in 2009.
Wow.
And then I rebranded to Boise Web a little bit later. I had a different name at first, but then switched
Oh.
over to Boise Web. Yep.
Oh wow, well, that's awesome, man. Okay, now that was good because one thing I was going to say is I've always known you're a real techie. I was kind of, back since you're 8 years old, you've been soldering stuff and putting stuff together. My dad's an engineer, and
Mm,
he, as a kid, he did that type of stuff. You know what I mean? And he did that type of stuff when he was an adult. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
and and me, I'm like, I want to be outside playing. I don't want to be doing that type of stuff. So, well, here's something is that like, so why are you in business? I mean,
Mm.
why an entrepreneur? Why Boise Web?
So back when I was a little kid, it was all about making enough money that I could go buy candy.
Okay,
And that's the 6-year-old reason why.
right?
And then as I got older, I was extremely intrigued by this idea of earning money because I recognized that you could do things with money. And so that was my next is like I've got to figure out how to make money to pay for all the things I'm going to do in life. And I've got a wife and kids and house and so I had to provide for that. But then it's shifted again, and now it's business and entrepreneurship and capitalism and all of those things give me, an individual who's a nobody in this world, the opportunity to lift myself, my family, the community, my employees, lift everyone to a higher and better place than I could in almost any other way.
Wow. Well, hey, that's a great way. I mean, I mean, that's a great reason to be in business, but you're doing something different because I know a lot of people that want to do exactly what you say, start a business, but they don't get it off the ground,
Mm.
right? And they don't scale it up. So how did you scale up Boise Web? I mean, you started with just yourself, right?
Yep.
Okay,
And
then
kind of an interesting side note, when
okay.
I started doing the web business, my initial goal was to actually never have any employees.
Oh
And I
wow.
had a very different business model that I started with, and that could be a whole nother story. But then I quickly realized successful people have a team
Yeah.
every single time. And my favorite analogy is sports. You look at sports and every time there's a team, and if someone says, "Oh no, look at Tiger Woods, look at, whoever on the tennis court," even they have a team. They have
Yep.
coaches off to the side. They've got their fans that are cheering them on and keeping them going. They've got people surrounding them that you may not see, but they always have a team.
Hmm. So so you started getting yeah um teams and stuff like that. And one thing that I'm sure a lot of the listeners don't know is that so as you progressed, I know that one thing you said recently within the last year or so, or maybe more to me, was you're to the point now with the Boise Web that um one of the biggest things to do for owners is I mean I just heard someone say the other day is that everyone clapped and that one of our meetings was it's the first time she's taken a vacation in like
Mm.
2 years from she's starting her company. So for you, I've heard that you've kind of built to where your team, I mean, you have a company that runs itself versus you having to be involved in everything. So how did that come to be?
You know, I got to the point where I couldn't go on a vacation as well, and that
Okay.
was several years ago. And and I didn't even realize I was to that point because I just enjoyed working and I get a
Yeah.
lot of satisfaction from it. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And so even when we were going on trips, I'd be over here just like, I'll
Oh,
be there in a minute, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I realized I wanted to go on a trip where I have no internet, no cell phone, no
Wow.
nothing. and it was going to be a week-long trip. And I told some of my customers, I was like, reached out to my customers, hey, I'm going to be gone. I've got the employees, they'll be able to take care of it. And they looked at me in the face and said, you can't go. What if something goes wrong? I said, no, I've
Wow.
got my employees. It'll be fine. They said, no, if something goes wrong, we need you. And like, talk about a punch, right?
Yeah.
Like, what did I do? How did I mess up that bad? And it really started me on a journey. I took that vacation and I spent that whole week looking around, like, how did I do this? How did I get here? What did I do wrong? How do I do it right? What do I need to change? Do I give up? Do I quit this whole entrepreneur thing? Do I go get a job? And there was a lot of introspection and reflection. And it took me a while. It didn't happen overnight, but I slowly tore the business down and just started rebuilding everything from the ground up so that the business wouldn't need me. And I used to think as a business owner, it was good to be important in the company. But now I recognize it's even better to be the least important person in a company.
That's true. I mean, you're right. I mean, yeah. I mean, like even when I published my second book, um, you helped get me connected with somebody in your team, and you didn't have to be involved in anything. I mean, your team took care. I mean, we had one person, point person, but had a one page website and stuff. But that was a good example of you could kind of get completely off out of the loop. It was
Oh,
like
wow.
you just kind of passed me on, and then she did a great job. And so that was a good example where I didn't I didn't really need you
Yeah.
to be doing it. But no, that and something that's a big thing though, because there's so many people. Well, there's several reasons, but two big ones that I know of. One, it's tough to build a company that can do it without you. And then two, I see this all the time. It's an ego thing. I have to do everything. I'm the center of the universe. But
Yeah.
it, then it's hard. It's very difficult to scale that. And then what happens if I want to sell it someday? Guess what? Brokers all the time say if you're the company, your company's worth close to zero. You have
Yep.
to have a team that's going to take the company with the new owner and keep them going forward. So anyway, that's one thing you've done a great job of because, like I said, I'm a business junkie. I talk to tons and tons of businesses, I have businesses in my group, and I'm always kind of asking them like, and one challenge over and over again is getting out of their own way,
Yeah.
and not being a control freak.
But that all comes back to the mindset
Yep.
and what a business owner knows or doesn't know. And when I look back at my old self and I look at that 6-year-old self or the 5-year-old or when I was importing jewelry or when I first got into the business, I didn't know half the things I know now. And if I had known those things, I'd be way ahead now
Yeah.
than where I am.
And that will tie into something coming up here too. If you would have known what you know now. Um, so with Boise Web, kind of give kind of a quick overview. What is Boise Web? I mean, websites, but like I tell people all the time, um, I meet someone they talk about a website. Oh, you need to talk to Jason. A lot of times when I say that, three other people said it too, by the way, especially on social media. So it's like pile on. But um, people don't know all what you do with that company. So you do websites, and what else do you do? And
So
then real
yeah.
quick before you do that too is I know one other thing you do because you've written a whole book on it. So go keep going.
Yeah, so the main bread and butter of what we do is we help build a beautiful professional website for people.
Okay.
And I could deep dive into some of how that all I comes together. But one of the secrets that many web companies don't think about is who is the brand, who is that other company, one, and who's their ideal client, two. And so that's a differentiator from my company is it is baked into our process that we first understand those two things because once we understand those two things, we understand how to represent the company and we know how to talk to that customer. And
Okay.
so and it's actually gotten to the point let me grab something.
Yeah, yeah.
This is this is a little something that we've started doing where we will actually, if a company wants us to, go in and build out the soul of the business and put it in to book form. And so
Oh,
we
wow.
will go in and it's more than just your colors and your fonts. We're talking like what are your three core differentiators? What are your core values? What are your products and services? Your service area. Those are all things that we put right into the book, which is amazing because if if I were a business owner and I'm hiring a new employee, I'd say, read this for 15 minutes. You'll learn more about the company than you ever could if I tried to explain it to you because it's all in writing. Or if you're hiring a marketing agency, here, this is who we are as a company. So this is another offering that we have for businesses is we will go in and actually establish it in writing. And I got a couple more that we've just recently done. So so brand colors, the book is in the customer's brand colors every single time. But that's just one other thing that we do to really help businesses establish who they are. And going back to that, removing the business owner, when you identify clearly who your business is, as if that business had all the characteristics like a human has, it becomes so much easier to hire the right people
Mm.
because you, as the business owner, are not trying to hire people that are a match for you. You're trying to hire people that are a match for that business. And you can say, okay, do you match this? Do you match that? And very quickly, you can evaluate the potential employees and say, oh, this one's a really good match. These aren't. And then you're bringing in the right people, and then you train them. This is how you represent the company. That book helps. And now you've got people that know how to represent the business without turning to the owner and say, what do I do now? What do I do now?
Yeah.
So that's another offering. The another is I did write this book, Small Business Big Visibility, Local SEO Made Easy. And the whole purpose of this book is to teach small business owners about SEO so they don't get taken advantage of. And literally, someone who buys this book could do 70, 80% of the SEO themselves without ever hiring an SEO firm. We also provide SEO services if somebody needs it, but at the same time, I'm all about education so that they can empower themselves to make smart decisions.
Yeah, and actually Sandra Dapper from Hawaiian Belt Roofing, she's the owner of that. She gave a testimony in one of our meetings the other day. She actually t talked about exactly that about you. She said, "Hey, because I used to have nothing. I mean, I started working with Jason. He's helped me out, but he gave me his book, and I'm doing a lot of this stuff myself." And so she's a great testimonial for you too, is that you kind of empowered her, not just you to be just relying on you, but her to also understand it better so that anything she can do, she can also help better,
Absolutely.
her at SEO. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, I live and love the principle that if you teach someone how to fish, they can take care of themselves.
yeah.
But a lot of the people, they'll learn how to do that themselves and they'll do it for a while until they're successful enough. They're like, you know what? I'm done wearing that hat.
Yep.
Here you go. I trust you because you taught me how to do it.
Yeah. That's awesome. So is there any other services you offer through the Boise Web?
We also provide web hosting as a main service, and then
Okay.
kind of like they're sisters to the Boise Web company, but it's the Small Business Big Visibility brand is actually the education arm of Boise Web. So
Okay.
I've got the podcast as a part of that, and within that podcast, we do daily episodes Monday through Friday. Most of the time, they're super short, 5, 10 minutes, just enough to get the business owner thinking a new way about some aspect of business. Because if you start thinking differently, you speak different, you act different, you get different results, and then you start transforming from where you are today to the business owner you want to be, which transforms the business into the business you want to have.
That's awesome. Hey, tell the listeners what's the name of your podcast?
Yeah, small business, big visibility.
I love that. Small business, big visibility. That's it. And I even I was one of the people, I probably picked the wrong one, but when you were trying to name the book and stuff, you're like handing out, which is awesome. Like, so which one resonates with you? And I love that because that's, small business, because you're working with small businesses, but you get given a big visibility with the SEO, with their websites, with their branding. And
And
going
it's
back to one
actually a
thing,
dual play, even because we're giving them bigger visibility into the world, but the education takes that vision that business owners have and gives them bigger
yeah.
visibility as well.
Oh, that's awesome. One thing too that just going back a little bit, you said that really resonated with me was by that book you have that you give to them, it kind of teaches them their branding, their culture, what they're about. The thing you said I really liked was so that way you're not like, oh, you need to, I need to understand Jason so he'll hire me and so I can work for Jason. No, you're working for the company, working for the team, working for our brand, our culture. I think that's really big. I really like that. I think that's a big, that's something really big because I think a lot of business owners um, or leader in the company, it's all about, making the person like them and everything. It's like,
Mm,
no, if you're gonna be a team player, you can't just like me. You can't just want to impress me. You gotta be able to, you gotta be like a part of the team. So I really like that.
exactly. Yep, exactly.
So that's gonna get us into, um, I've been seeing you recently, talk about and it might be kind of the branding thing that you're doing with a book, but you have another gentleman you're talking to. So what's the newest thing you're kind of getting involved in? Is it another whole
Abs
business? What is it?
Yeah, so that is Grazora,
Okay.
Grazora.
Huh.
And the purpose of Grazora is an extension of the concept of small business, big visibility. So I hated the fact that I was trapped in the business and I was literally like a hamster in a wheel to keep my business alive. And that was absolutely horrible. And it wasn't fair to my family. It wasn't fair to anyone. So I'm passionate now about figuring out and helping others to get out of that trap themselves. So that, as a part of that, we're I'm co-authoring another book. So that other gentleman is Brett, and we are working together to write that book. He's had experiences where he's owned multiple businesses, didn't have to do anything. They just ran. They worked.
Wow.
He was able to set them all up, and he's since sold all those businesses, and he's diving into this with me. And so we do a podcast for Grazora. We've got the book coming out soon. But the big thing is we're going to literally take business owners in and help them make that shift and then send them on their way.
Huh.
So it's just this, come on in. I know it's cold. I know it's lonely. We're going to flip that for you. You're going to go from working too much and not making any money to having a business that actually propels you forward instead of feeling like a rock that you're dragging up a mountain.
That's awesome. So you're saying you have another, do you have the other podcast named yet?
So it's the Grazora Life.
Okay. The Grazora Life. Okay.
Yep.
And then what about the book, the newest book? You haven't got a title for it yet?
We haven't released the
Yeah.
title for that one yet. No.
Okay.
Yep.
I know
But
that's like I said.
soon.
Yeah, I get it. Like I've written two books too, and the second book I promoted it and wrote it for like 2 years, and
Mm.
in the last 8 months, I totally changed the title because I had several like really famous authors that just on LinkedIn just liked me and followed me and just they just said, "Hey, I love the title, but you can't have that title. You got to change it." And so that's when I had to kind of anyway, yeah, so it kind of takes a little bit takes a village to sometimes come up with a great title.
It really does. And you can see how close we are. I mean, we've had people do feedback on the book already.
Oh,
So
oh
like
wow.
we're pretty close. We're far down that path. So the title will be coming out soon.
That's exciting. So now we're kind of getting toward the end here, but I want to know like so 2026 and beyond, what's your goals?
Well, I've got a few goals that I'm really passionate about. The first one is we're going to get this book out
Okay.
and we're going to get it into the masses. My second goal this year is I'm actually in the process of writing another book, and this one's on time management. And but it's designed for business owners. Did you know almost a third of business owners have either ADD, ADHD, or similar?
The funny thing is, Jason, this what timing? Okay, in the group, one of our questions was, right, what success did you from 2025 you gonna carry into 2026? What did I say? I'm ADD, man. I mean, undiagnosed, but I have trouble focusing and time management. It's like squirrel. I work out of my house a lot. Squirrel. The dishes need to be done. The dog needs whatever it is. So when you
Right?
talk about time, and several other people, it's weird. Several other people said, "Hey, Scott, that's my problem too." So, anyway, that's a huge problem. I'm trying to get better at it. I'm gonna have to read your book twice because to make sure I get because I do time blocking, not the best, but
Mhm.
that's I mean I write down. Okay, for the next half hour, I'm going to be doing this. Next hour, I have to write down the time to remind me when I'm done, and then write it down old school because I
Yeah.
am not very efficient. I mean, I will start one thing and then oh, wait a minute, I got something on my phone. I need to answer something on my phone. No, you don't. You
Right.
need to focus for the next half hour on that task and get it done. Anyway, so
Yeah.
anyway, any for secrets, little pig glances into your book coming up on time management?
You know, It's amazing. This book is almost writing itself. I've never
Okay.
had an experience like that.
Oh,
The information is just flowing out of me, and
love
I've
it.
got just like every few minutes, like, oh, yep, that's got to be in there. Oh, yep, that's got to be in there. That so I've never had an experience like this. I think this book may actually come out faster than the other one that we've been working on for a
Oh.
year. It is just coming together so quickly. I already have the title for it. I'm not sharing it today because the title is so good, someone will steal it.
Oh no, you have to be careful of that.
Yep. But
I'm telling you though that and that was a problem with my last book is that it got so big I had to cut a big piece of it out,
mm,
because it just once I got flowing, it's like, oh wow, what about this and what about that? What about this? ADD probably too. And then pretty soon I'm going, holy smokes, this thing is no one's going to read a book that big, so I have to kind of narrow it back
yeah,
down
if the
again.
title is the book, we got to cut it down, right?
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Hey, that's been
So
great to get caught up
so
with
I've
you,
got one
Jake.
more goal I've got to
Go,
share
go.
too.
No, go.
This
No,
is a
keep
big
going.
one.
Keep going.
So my
Okay.
big goal is I'm going to speak 300 times in 12 months.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
How are you going to do that?
So it's amazing the opportunities that are out there. It's kind of that red car syndrome.
Okay.
You never see the red car until you buy a red car and then all you
Right.
see is
Right.
red cars. Same thing in the speaking world. There's so many people that want a speaker. There's so many opportunities out there. And as soon as you start raising your hand, at least for me in this situation, they're just flocking in. So,
Wow.
yeah, absolutely amazing.
That's awesome. Now, when you say speaking, that could be on a podcast, that could be in person, any other ways?
Absolutely. Yeah. Podcasts, masterminds, speaking to a large audience, small audience,
Oh, okay.
eh, all kinds of different speaking opportunities out there. But it's really this message, which leads to my big goal. My big current lifetime purpose goal is I'm going to help 1 million small business owners move towards the life they're looking for in life and
Wow.
business.
Wow. Okay. I was going to end, but not now. I want to know. So 1 million a book? Well, that's tough. You're not going to sell that many books. So how you going
Oh,
to
I
do that?
might. I might.
All right. How you going to do that?
So yeah, there's several things coming together
Okay.
that are making this the reality. But my initially I thought I should probably help 100,000, and I actually was started writing down names of people, and I thought, you know what? It's not 100,000. There's at any time 20 to 30 million businesses, small businesses in America, and most of them start up, fail, start
Yep.
up,
Yep.
fail. And if they knew more, and if they had more hope and belief and faith in themselves, they wouldn't fail. And so I'm going to be the guy that as they've started up, we're going to have the resources for them so that they can get free resources as needed. If they've got money to buy some of our services or our resources, they can do that. They're very inexpensive. I mean, the books aren't that much money, and we're putting the exact formulas in and we're sharing this stuff. And then we're going to guide them and work with them as well as needed to help push these people into that success zone.
That's awesome, man. That's a great goal too. I mean, because you've always been like that. You've always been a person that, um, you know, always looking out to help other people and stuff. So what a great goal, So even if you miss it, you only do 950,000. You're still doing pretty dang good.
It'd probably be okay.
Yeah. Well, hey, this has been great. And if someone's going to reach out to you, and I'll put all the information in the show notes, but what's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Yeah, if people want to reach out to me, like they can call the number, they can reach out via any of the websites, the Boise
Okay.
WEB, Grazora, Small Business Big
Okay.
Visibility. They can reach out on social media as well. I'm all over the place. If anyone's looking for me, it's the Jason McKenzie with the red beard. I'm pretty hard to miss.
Yeah. I said I said you're all over everything. Like I said, I think I'm pretty good at it, but I think you're somebody I aspire to because you're everywhere. So, hey, well, this has been great, and I really appreciate it. And I know that the listeners will get something out of it. And some people, hey, if you're a small business owner and you're struggling, reach out to Jason. I mean, he again, he's a giver. I mean, I can't tell you how many people that, including myself, that reached out to him to talk about me was a website and several other people. And you know what Jason told me and several people I've talked to? You don't need a website yet. And we talked about business stuff. So yeah, if you need anything about growing your business or how to get out of your business and have your team run it, please reach out to Jason. It's been
Thank you.
great, Jason. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, man.